Your goddess has no dominion here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fandango's big ticket interview for Avatar, Fire and Ash. And I'm here with James Cameron. Hello.
Where?
Where is he? Where is he? Wait, do you want to
Good
be
to see you
Fire or
again.
do you want to be Ash?
I'm both.
You are both, which we'll get to in a little bit. James, you've said that the first film was a nightmare to shoot.
It wasn't a nightmare to shoot. It was fun to shoot.
Fun to shoot.
Nightmare to create all the new technology that was necessary and to figure it all out. We were sort of building the airplane while we were flying it, essentially.
And then the second one you flew, but you called it chaotic. The third one you said, this one, you've said it was actually weirdly easy, but you called it strong. So my question to you is, how strong is this movie, James?
Well, people will have to judge for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm quite satisfied. It's what I set out to make. I think the members of the cast that have seen it, which is not all of them, are pretty happy with their work, which is important. Look, people will decide for themselves. I feel like it's the correct culmination of a three-film arc, right?
Yeah.
The first film was not written with more films in mind, but it launched two characters that we love, Jake and Neytiri. And so then, using kind of my own life lessons and being a parent and having 5 kids, I wrote a story that spans 2 films, Avatar 2 and 3, Way of Water and Fire and Ash. And we culminate all these themes in the new film. We go to new places, we meet new cultures, we do all the things you'd associate with an Avatar movie, but we definitely go deeper in terms of the relationships and the consequences of the things that they're experiencing. And I think what that does is it takes you on a journey. It's as much emotional as visual. I think that's what I'm most proud of is the work of my cast, including Una Chaplin, who plays a new character, Varong, and she's kind of amazing. Like Varong is amazing, and Una's performance is incredible. And of course, we can count on Sigourney, we can count on Zoe and Sam.
Oscar winner Zoe.
Oscar winner, Sigourney nominated 3 times, Kate Winslet won 2 or 3 times. The caliber of the actors and the caliber of the work in the film is, I think, what I'm most proud of.
And you've said that. You've said that it's really the heart of it. I mean, aside from the visual spectacle that we all get. I'm curious for you, and I love what you said about the previous 2 films. I feel like the first one we all know came to you in a dream when you were very young.
Good point.
The second one, I feel like, came from your love of water. Where in your psyche or in your being did Fire and Ash come from?
I think it came from my feeling that we need to be more in touch with our empathy. And it's about the cycle of hate and loss. And people have told me, not a lot of people have seen the film, but we've done some screenings for friends and so on. And the feedback is, we need this film right now with where the world is. You get to escape from the world, but you can't escape from the world. And what you find within the film is things that resonate with you and maybe make you hopeful about us as a species. Obviously it's the Na'vi are the good guys for the most part. We got some bad ones, but I think we see the best of ourselves in the Na'vi and the worst of ourselves in all the greedy corporate guys that are coming to, destroy the planet.
Will we see some of ourselves, because I would love for you to talk more about the Ash people and sort of a little bit about where they come from. Will we see some of ourselves in them? Will people really relate to Avatar? They relate to the characters and the themes. Will they relate to the dark side of these characters?
I think so. Look, we've got a lot of situations in the world where there's long-term enmity between people. You did this to us, therefore we have to do this to you. And how do you break that cycle? So the Ash people feel like they got a raw deal. They've turned away from Ewa because their homeland was destroyed by a volcano. So in a way they're traumatized, and traumatized people can become bullies. They can brutalize others because they're still acting out and working through their trauma by creating trauma for other people. So we will see an aspect of human behavior. Hopefully the vast majority of the audience are not people who are caught in that loop. But I think it does tell us a little bit about what that is. It's a part of the human experience. So we have love, we have family love and family bonds. What I was looking to do is take us outside of our specific culture, our specific nationality, patriotism, all that sort of thing, and put us on another planet, but take all those human values and continue to explore them. And that's why Avatar movies seem to work wherever country they go into, whatever culture or religion they go into, whatever language the films go into, people appreciate them. They recognize themselves.
So if the Ash are sort of that sort of evil or darkness, I think you called the Wind Traders fun.
Wind Traders are just fun. You just want to, they're like the circus. The circus comes to town and you want to run away with them and just travel around because they're just cool.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, and they're also used to getting attacked by raiders because they go all over the planet, and the Ash people presumably are not the only people on the planet that have got a beef or are not adhering to what the Na'vi call the great balance, right? So we've added some complexity there, but the Wind Traders, you just want to sail away with them and go exploring.
Well, I thought the trailer was probably the greatest trailer I've ever seen. And
Wait till you see the new one.
really, I can't wait. I feel like it gave us that mysticism and that sort of feeling of going into a lull or a dream state that we feel when we watch
Well,
it.
this is it, right? So you know, I call it dreaming with your eyes wide open. It's a principle that I thought of when I founded Digital Domain back in 1992, which is, you know, to figure out how to create worlds and create characters with CG. And this is the culmination of that now, so many years later, decades later. You know, you go to an Avatar movie and you dream with your eyes wide open.
So what are audiences going to walk away talking about? Is there a sequence? Is there an emotion? Is there a core? Is there a DNA to this?
There are a couple of scenes that are real corkers emotionally.
Okay.
There's a couple of great battle scenes too. You know, there's action, there's adventure. We follow the kids a lot in this film. I mean, Jake and Neytiri we expect to see, right? We expect to see more of their story. We introduce Varong and her Mongkwan clan, and they're fascinating. But we follow a lot the kids' journey. And we see the bonds between them and the struggles that they have for kind of recognition with their parents. And it's a family dynamic that almost feels dysfunctional at times, but they work, you know, I don't want to give anything away, but they have to work through all that stuff.
Why is Loke the narrator of this one?
He's a beautiful narrator. There's something very soulful in Britton's voice, and I wanted to see the other side of the dynamic with Jake.
Okay.
So sometimes you can learn more about a character from how other people see him. So Loak is talking about his father, and I think you learn a lot about Jake from that. And you also see how much Loak is truly like Jake, maybe
So
too much like Jake.
you shot 2 and 3 concurrently. You've called this whole saga a cycle. How would you sort of place this in terms of what it sets up for the future?
I think 4 and 5 are a great story. I really do. They form a story. 2 and 3 form a story. So we're actually coming to a culmination point. We may not continue. Depends on how much people want us to continue in a sense, which they'll prove by, you know, attending the movie or not attending the movie.
Track record's pretty good.
Track record's good, but you know, I mean, you know, people that you know just live on their laurels tend to eventually run out of steam. So we have to prove ourselves every time out, you know, to a global audience at a time when theatrical is way down from what it used to be. You know, we'll just see how it plays out. But I think this completes a story.
Okay.
And then a new story starts in 4 and completes in 5.
Okay. So
So
this almost could feel like the ending.
Culmination. Yeah, I think it's a culmination. But you know, look, it's always easy to continue with characters that you like, right? But this is definitely a culmination. It's a finishing of a story.
Speaking of characters that you like, you've said that you have to love characters. You have to love your characters. You have to love your story. Just wondering, performance capture actors, is every actor automatically a good performance capture actor, or is it a specific skill?
No, it's not a skill. I mean, actors may be unfamiliar with it and not having done it maybe the first day, they're like, what is this? And then they realize, and Sigourney speaks eloquently about this, she says it's completely freeing. You take everything else away. You take away the time of day and the crew rushing around to get a shot before sunset. You take away all the extras. You take away the dolly track and the camera crane and the director being distracted by all of that technical stuff. It's funny, people think of me as a technical director, right? Because I'm a gearhead, you know, I like technology. But the beauty of performance capture is I don't have to think about all that stuff. All I have to think about is what I wrote and these beautiful people that I get to work with and their performance. And, you know, a term came up, the actors were talking last night, a term came up, there's an intimacy. We're making this vast spectacle. There's an intimacy and a purity to the performance capture process because we're not dealing with the spectacle. We're dealing with the personal, right? And the actors, you know, they're not in a forest. They're not in an airship, you know. They're just working with each other. And actors have a great skill of being able to tune out all the grips on ladders and all the lights and all the stuff of production. So they don't have to do that because they're just, it's not there anyway. There's nothing there. You know? So it's like theater, right?
You've said that your philosophy is, obviously with years of planning ahead, let's just see what happens. What is something that you got to do on this film where you just sort of threw caution to the wind and got to see what happened in post-production or whatever it was?
I think you do that every single day on a performance capture film, especially an Avatar film. You come in and say, all right, guys, let's make some magic, you know. That's what I say that when I walk in. I say, all right, good morning, campers. Let's make some magic. It's a creative act every single day. I think conventional films are so rigidly structured and you've got to shoot them because it's photographic. You've got no flexibility later. I can write a scene, call up the actors and say, hey guys, I got a great idea for a scene. And we're done, supposedly done, but you're never done. I got a great idea. You know, I want to change something toward the end of the film. And they all just show up, you know, it's like a block party. And they all just show up and because we can recreate any part of the world almost instantaneously. It's pretty wild because it exists virtually, right? So we set up a few ramps and a few little platforms and things and we can recreate any set, any part of the world that we want very quickly.
What a playground, what a sandbox.
So like, I'll give you an example. So the Leonopteryx, the big red creature that Jake rides in movie 1, it wasn't written in movie 3, but I decided to bring it back. And I was going to bring it back in a later film. I decided to bring it back in 3. It's like, so I called up Sam and said, Sam, you want to ride the Toru? He goes, yeah, mate, whatever you need. That's Sam, you know, it's just, it's flat. It's like, yeah, mate, whatever you need.
That's why we follow him. That's why we follow him in the movie. He's that steady guy.
He's that steady guy, right?
What do you want to just sort of set up for audiences that they're going to walk away from this film with?
I think they'll feel emotionally exhausted in a good way, that they've been tested. They've gone with characters who have been tested and they've been tested. I'm getting reports from people that have watched the film. I cried 4 times. I cried here, I cried there. It's like, great. Great, you connected, you engaged with those characters and when they were tested, you were tested. But it's satisfying, right? You get to the end and it's satisfying. You know, it's obviously a very, very different film playing by very, very different rules, but I'd say it's more like Titanic than the first Avatar.
Wow, wow. Cannot wait to see it. If you need another pair of eyeballs on it, I'm here. I'm available.
At least you said pair. That's good because that's 3D, right?
Thank you so much for your time. And I want to just remind everybody that tickets for Fire and Ash are available now on Fandango.